Welcome to the SALP Student Leadership Training about event planning. After completing this training, you should be able to know your resources to plan an event, be able to produce a backwards timeline for event planning, and to successfully complete a reflection and evaluation following an event. Successful events take skill and planning. We will walk you through the 8 steps for successful planning in this training. Step 1, goal setting. It is important to work on setting your objectives at the very beginning. Having clear goals in mind helps the group work towards a shared vision rather than going in different directions. On the slide, there are a list of questions that you may want to explore with your organization. The next step is determining and taking care of the musts. Often people will attempt to begin the event planning before they figure out what these are. Along with knowing why you're having an event and what your goals are, you need to answer some other very important questions as well. First, brainstorm all the potential groups of people the event can include, interest, and involve. Remember, student groups and programs are funded by the PSU student incidental fee, so your first priority must be to the students. But what students are you trying to include in your audience? Time and date. Next, you need to think about when the event will be. Will you have enough time to organize, submit a budget, and spending requests? Are there scheduling conflicts with other student organizations or campus events? Is it a time when people are going to be stressed out, for example, during finals? Before you begin planning anything else, location should be confirmed. Locations are often booked a year in advance, especially for venues with larger events. When booking the location, make sure you are leaving yourself enough time to realistically publicize the event. Most spaces can be reserved through conferences and events. You can find the link under the bookmarks in the SALP Admin Club on OrgSync. Next, you need to think about budget. How much and where is it coming from? This is the time to determine if you're going to have co-sponsorships or donations or sell tickets. Co-sponsorship should be determined before publicity goes out and before you start spending more money than you have. Lastly, your main presenters or performers should be confirmed for your date and time before you start organizing the rest of the event. Publicity should include your main speaker or performer if that is part of your event. Your must might be determined by a committee or the leaders of a student organization or program, depending on the dynamics and expectations of your membership. Think about group dynamics when making these decisions and leave yourself extra time if you need to get group buy-in before forging ahead. Once you have determined the musts, you are ready to create a backwards timeline and delegate tasks. Step 3, backwards timeline. Handy tip. There's a backwards timeline worksheet in the Student Admin Club portal on OrgSync. A backwards timeline is a way to break up tasks and to determine what needs to be done and when. Breaking the work up into manageable categories with someone taking a lead on each can be helpful when developing a backwards timeline. Examples of different categories include publicity, volunteers, budget, food, and logistics. To create the backwards timeline, start with the day of the event and list all the things you need to do for that day. Work backwards on the calendar to fill in when other responsibilities need to be completed. Be sure to assign a point person for each task. Creating and following a backwards timeline will help ensure you get all the necessary budgets and forms in on time to have a successful event. Step 4, delegation. Delegation is another component essential to the success of your event and to effective leadership in general. 1 or 2 people should be the lead organizers on event. Their responsibilities include facilitating planning committee meetings, keeping the energy and excitement around the event high, checking in to make sure committee members are completing designated tasks, guiding conversations and decisions about the event, and being a link to the advisors themselves supporting your event. There are many reasons that there should be more than one person planning an event. Having a committee of folks allows you to get the word out to more people, have a group to double-check communications, it allows for more ideas and creativity, helps to provide a sense of community and collaboration in the group, and reduces burnout of main leaders. Step 5, Follow-up. Follow-up and confirmation is also an important step in event planning. You should make sure to build it into your backwards timeline and to remember to keep in touch with all the people and services that are helping to make your event successful. That includes any contractors, performers, caterers, the venue, equipment, and your SELP advisor. Step 6. The pre-event meeting. For large events, which are typically greater than 100 people, and for dances, your organization will need to have a pre-event meeting at least 6 weeks in advance. This meeting usually involves the student leaders, your SELP advisor, Conferences and Events or the Stotts Center, Aramark, CAVIT, and Campus Public Safety. The purpose of this meeting is to go over the agenda of the event and finalize the logistics so that everyone involved with your event is aware what is needed to make it successful. Step 7. Last-minute preparations. Last-minute preparations before the event can be a bit stressful, so you need to remember to ask yourself and keep in mind several basic questions. Do we have everything that we need for the day of? Do you have to-do lists for volunteers? Do you have lists for yourself and things to remember? Does everyone know where they're supposed to be? Step 8. Evaluation, reflection, and post-event follow-up. Handy tip, there's a worksheet you can use for evaluation called a SWOT in the Student Admin Club portal on OrgSync. Evaluation and reflection is the next important thing to consider. You should determine from the beginning how you might evaluate your event. Evaluation may be able to tell you what worked, how can you improve for next time, what did the audience or participants think of the event, and did we meet our objectives? The tools you use for evaluation should be decided upon before the event. There are a variety of tools and strategies that you can use to evaluate and to reflect upon your event. These include follow-up web surveys of audience members, satisfaction cards at the event, counting the number of people who attended, asking people how they heard about the event, and doing a SWOT analysis with the committee after the event. A SWOT analysis is a way for the committee to reflect upon the event and to leave information for the next group. It breaks your debrief into strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This can be how the committee functioned, feedback on publicity, logistics, what performers were used, the venue, etc. For other ideas on how to evaluate your event, work with your SELP advisor. The final step in event planning and completion is the follow-up, which includes reporting back to the entire student organization or program and anyone who helped. This could be some sort of report that is shared with the group or on the website and or emailed to everybody. Remember to write thank you notes to all the people who supported your event, such as presenters, volunteers, your funding body, co-sponsors, etc. This helps when you approach them about the next event. You may also want to share any evaluations with them. For more information on any of these topics, please visit the following links. Or your advisor is always happy to answer questions and provide support on event planning. This concludes the event planning training. Thank you.